My dear brother Busara, your reply arrived just a week after my own was sent. You will be pleased to hear that both dacts arrived within a few hours of each other. The idea of sending a second courier to learn the route is an excellent one, and I have diligently followed your instructions of how to prepare a coupe and make them feel at home. I was eager to send you a reply as soon as possible, but I bow to your wisdom on how best to safely train our little flapping friends. They seemed happy to remain in any case, and I hope I will have no trouble convincing Abrax, as you name him, to return to you. You asked me to continue my account of the work of the artifactors, and I will do so in the way I know best, to tell you a little of my own experience in such a line of work. Having never traveled, I do not know how well you know the nature of our world. Oh, certainly you will have seen many maps, but they do not give the firm detail of the landscape, the feel of a place, or what sort of creatures and minor landmarks you may encounter. The ruins of the builders can be found everywhere, and rarely fail to add drama to a place. In many parts of Eulalia it is impossible to walk for an hour without tripping across some evidence of their civilization. And if you climb above the jungle canopy, you will see them studding the horizon, emerging boldly from a sea of green, as eternal as the rock itself. This is admittedly less true when one travels inland and towards the east, approaching that impregnable mountain range we call the Spineback. But even there, occasional finds can be made. The ruins themselves are of many different types. The most obvious are the tall towers which jut from the forest like jagged and broken teeth. Sometimes you might find deep tunnels, half or wholly submerged in water. I have also discovered large and crumbling pieces of machinery, often with little or no idea of what they once were. Most common of all are the large piles of ruined and broken buildings, and in the sourcing of artifacts, often no less fruitful than their more impressive counterparts. It is clear from only a cursory glance of many of these ruins that the surface of the land has changed considerably since the builder's own time. Many of the ruins are deep underground, and so shifting riverbeds and silt deposits have buried much of the past. What can I tell you about artifacting? You will certainly have heard the term before, but it is often misapplied, and so I will explain what it means, to myself at least. Artifactors are a breed of wandering scavenger, who risk their lives in the dangerous jungles and mangroves which grow almost everywhere in Eulalia. The exact date of the event is unknown to us, but my feeling is that it was somewhere in excess of 500 years in the past, as that is, as you know, just a little longer than our recorded history. It may seem incredible that anything has survived in useful condition, and indeed, while finding artifacts is not difficult, to find something in working order is rare indeed. Many people think that artifactors are no better than scavengers and thieves, while many artifactors are what you might call characters of questionable morality. They do have a code. Indeed, it is this code which separates them from the opportunists and cutthroats who are sometimes wrongly referred to as artifactors. An artifactor, you see, must be educated through a system of apprenticeship. Only when a candidate has acquired enough knowledge may he truly call himself an artifactor, and then go through a process of initiation, which I am not at liberty to discuss. Similarly, I cannot explain the full context of the code, but a fact very few people seem to know is that the artifactors are a member organization of the Order of the New Enlightenment, just like the Great Library. This means that they too are pledged to protect the knowledge of the past. Thus they are no mere scavengers, but explorers, who have pledged to further knowledge and progress with their discoveries. Now, I will not tell you that all artifactors are perfectly honest and follow the code to the letter. Their reputation as miscreants is perhaps a little undeserved, but not entirely unfounded. As I have already said, the beginning of my life, I was such a one. But while adventure and riches fueled my young imagination, it did not take long for a deeper fascination with the past to develop. My thirst for treasure became a thirst for knowledge, and thus my fertile mind was sown with the seed of science. I challenge anyone with an inquiring mind to spend time amongst the ruins and not become fascinated, nay, obsessed with the culture which built them. The inarticulate and broken objects are so curious, so enigmatic, as to tell 1,000 imagined stories. The precision and craft with which the most mundane object was made shames the best efforts of our own time. My first treasure was a long-stemmed glass, quite unbroken, and in many ways uninteresting, except in the fact that such fragility had survived at all. Such items are of no use to science, of course, and so the artifactor is free to sell such a thing to the highest bidder. I was so proud of the soreskin hat and burlap rucksack that I bought with the proceeds. I still have the hat today. Of course, the real excitement comes from finding an object of scientific rather than simply financial value. I remember well how we used to sell the circuit boards, which are the component elements of the famed thinking engines, which I have made my life's work. You will pale in horror, as I do now, of the memory. Never able to verify if they were working, we sold them by the weight. A kill of green C would fetch us 12 bits. Black graph was a script in 3, and the Holy Grail, white nano, was a full 3 script and 8 bits. I must apologize. Now I am rambling. It should be enough to say that even the vague chance of data being gleaned from this ancient material was worth paying highly for it. This leads me on to the subject of my own study and my long toil in trying to coax information from the Gain archive. But I feel you heard enough about my work when I visited, and next letter would be happy to cover a topic of your choosing. Yours with great esteem and fondness, Professor Alophangus, Playdge, Onyx Research Laboratory, The Wash.